Have you ever wandered through a garden and stumbled upon a flower so elegant, so mysterious, that it seemed to hold secrets of the earth itself? That is the magic of the orchid, a bloom that has captivated humans for centuries, a flower that is more than just beauty. It is history, survival, and a story written across continents and time. The orchid is no ordinary plant. With more than 25,000 species scattered across every corner of the globe, it is one of the largest and most diverse families in the entire plant kingdom. From the tropical jungles of South America, where orchids cling to towering trees, to the frozen tundra where hardy species bloom against the odds, orchids have adapted to environments so different and so extreme that it almost seems impossible they belong to the same family. And yet, they do, bound together by a unique design. 3 petals, 3 sepals, and 1 special petal called the labellum, shaped like a landing pad, a guide for pollinators. But what makes orchids so extraordinary is not just their structure, it is their story of survival. Orchids are masters of deception. Some species trick insects by mimicking the appearance of female bees, luring unsuspecting males into a false embrace. And in that moment of confusion, the orchid transfers its pollen. Others produce intoxicating scents that promise nectar, yet deliver none, still ensuring the insect carries away the pollen needed for the next bloom. In the great theater of nature, orchids are the actors, dazzling and deceiving, always ensuring the continuation of their line. Humans, too, have been enchanted by orchids since ancient times. In China, orchids have long symbolized refinement, virtue, and friendship. Confucius himself compared the orchid's fragrance to the character of a noble person, subtle yet unforgettable. In the Aztec civilization, orchids were mixed with vanilla and cacao to create a drink reserved for royalty and warriors, a blend that carried both strength and luxury. In Victorian England, orchids became the ultimate status symbol, objects of desire for collectors who would travel across oceans and risk their lives to find a rare specimen. Entire expeditions were launched, fortunes were spent, and even lives were lost, all in the pursuit of what was called orchid delirium, the orchid craze that swept through Europe like wildfire. But orchids are not just symbols of wealth and beauty. They have been healers, too. In traditional medicine, orchid roots and flowers were used to soothe ailments, restore energy, and even as aphrodisiacs. And of course, one orchid has become part of nearly every kitchen in the world: the vanilla orchid. From its delicate pods comes the flavor that sweetens ice creams, perfumes desserts, and adds warmth to fragrances, a taste and scent born from a flower. Yet, despite their elegance, orchids are fragile. Their seeds are so tiny, like specks of dust, that they cannot survive on their own. To grow, they depend on a secret partner, a fungus hidden in the soil that provides the nutrients needed for the seed to sprout. Without this invisible alliance, orchids would never bloom. It is a reminder that even the most exquisite beauty is not independent, but part of a deeper web of life. In the wild, orchids live in balance with their ecosystems, pollinated by specific insects or birds, nurtured by their environment. But in our hands, they have become objects of passion and commerce. Today, orchids are one of the most traded flowers in the world. Grown in greenhouses, sold in markets, gifted in celebrations, and treasured by collectors. Their popularity has made them accessible, but it has also put pressure on wild populations. Habitat loss, deforestation, and illegal collection threaten many species. Conservationists now fight to protect orchids in the wild, creating reserves, studying their secret relationships with fungi, and learning how to cultivate them without harming their natural homes. Still, the allure of orchids endures. Step into any orchid show, and you will see people marveling at shapes and colors that seem almost unreal. Blooms that resemble birds in flight, butterflies resting on petals, or even faces peering out of the flower's center. Orchids challenge our imagination, blurring the line between plant and art, between nature and dream. Perhaps that is why orchids have been given so many meanings across cultures. They represent love and luxury, strength and delicacy, mystery and refinement. In some places, they are gifts of admiration. In others, symbols of fertility. And in many traditions, they are considered a bridge between the earthly and the divine. To give someone an orchid is not just to give a flower. It is to give a message, a gesture wrapped in layers of meaning. And yet, for all their symbolism and beauty, orchids remain survivors. They have thrived on Earth for over 100 million years, adapting, deceiving, enchanting, from the smallest bloom no larger than a grain of rice to the largest orchid that spreads like a vine across trees. They have endured through time and change. To hold an orchid in your hand is to hold a fragment of history, a piece of evolution's grand experiment. But what about the orchids we bring into our homes? How can we care for them so they continue to thrive and share their beauty with us? Though they seem delicate, many orchids, especially the popular Phalaenopsis, are surprisingly resilient when their needs are understood. Orchids love bright but indirect light. Too much sun will scorch their leaves, while too little will keep them from blooming. They prefer a balance of moisture and air, their roots craving oxygen, which is why they thrive in loose, bark-based media rather than heavy soil. When watering, it is better to let the medium dry slightly between waterings than to keep it soggy, for orchids dislike having their roots sit in water. Humidity, too, is their friend, reminding them of their tropical homes. A gentle misting or a humidity tray can keep them comfortable. And patience is key. After their blooms fade, many people think the orchid has died, but often it is only resting, storing energy for the next spectacular show. With the right care, the same orchid can flower again and again, year after year, each cycle a reminder of its resilience and grace. So next time you see an orchid, whether in a wild forest, a greenhouse, or a simple pot on a windowsill, pause and look closer. See the symmetry of its petals, the mystery of its colors, the ingenuity of its design. Behind every orchid is a story of survival, of beauty, of human passion, and of nature's endless creativity. It is more than a flower. It is a legend written in bloom. And if you listen closely, perhaps you will hear what generations before us have heard, the silent whisper of the orchid, timeless, enchanting, eternal.